Guys, welcome to Mauna English. I'm Mauna, your coach. Are you wondering about taking a language proficiency test? IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, Cambridge, whatever? Watch this video until the end and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you soon. Thank you very much for coming to this webinar, and I'm very pleased to have you. And as I said earlier, I'm Mauna Jean Atto. I'm a linguist and language coach, and I'm also a volunteer teacher trainer at Literacy and Evangelism International. This session is an information session to talk to you about the well-known of these international language tests, so that if you are planning to take a decision, if you are planning to pursue your studies, if you are planning to emigrate and all those things, you know what to do next. I've already introduced myself. I talked about, general information about different language proficiency tests, but we are still in that session. After we finish that session, I'm going actually to dive and talk about one specific test I mentioned, which is the IELTS. What is IELTS? And then the type of IELTS, and then where can you take your IELTS test, and what do you need to know about preparation. So this is what we are going to do within the 1 hour 30 minutes that remains. But if we finish before time, no problem. Then later you have time to ask questions if you have any. So I was saying, it is important to take one of these tests if you are dreaming big regarding your academic, professional, and future life. And I've mentioned a few of them here: IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, TFL, Cambridge, and we have many more. But these are the prominent, the most renowned among all. And let me say, is kind of in order of prominency. And now, actually, all these tests, they have common points, and they also have specificities in their format. So before you go for one of these tests, you need to go to the site where you are applying of the, the university, the college, or anyway, where is your target? Where are you going? You need to look for the information on that platform before you decide on which test you take. IELTS is the most, let me say, famous among all these tests. It is recognized by over 12,500 organizations over the world. And wherever you go with your IELTS, you are likely you have, more chance to be taken due to the format and due to the range of language they assess during the examination. The TOEFL, when you take the TOEFL, is also an important and very renowned test that can be accepted, that is accepted like by most universities all over the world, but it is most of the time geared to, when you are going to the United States of America to study. If you present your TOEFL test, then you have the go ahead. The TOEIC test is more likely for professionals who want to prove that they have abilities to express themselves to a certain extent in the English language. They have knowledge, they are knowledgeable about many things in the professional language. The TFL is most about teaching And I actually have one brother here, you know, and of course, today is not really about the details of every single test here, as I mentioned earlier. But Brother Elom is here and can tell us a little bit about TFL. And, if we have the opportunity, we'll come back to this and in detail, and maybe, every month is possible. We are gonna put emphasis on each, of each one of these tests. So, Brother Elam, can you take 1 minute to talk about TFL?
Okay, wonderful. So I was saying that a great thing for this opportunity given to me to talk a little bit about TFL. And as Mr. Jean Rato said it, I'm alone. I'm also an English teacher. Then I took that test, and it's especially for those who love that English language and who like to teach it to some other people. Then it's a test that I applied for it online, and I have the certificate that can help me to apply for any teaching job, whether face-to-face classes or online. It's certificate. When we have it, you go all across the whole world and it can work. So that one is especially for teaching job. So this is a little bit I can say about these tests. Before we come back, if the time allow in February or in another month, to have a whole detail on it. So, Mr. Janato, thank you so much for giving me the floor.
Yes, you are very welcome. Thank you for being willing to share this about, the TFL. As brother said, it is mostly about teaching for the TFL. And the IELTS and TOEIC, it is for the purpose of studying or immigration or living in countries like Canada, United States, UK, Australia, and so on and so forth. So those are actually uh, the general information you need to know about those kind of tests. And the costs of these tests are actually almost the same. I will come back to the cost later before we end the session. So I mentioned it at the beginning. You are already speaking English. You are already fluent. You are an English majored. And why do you need to take one of these tests? Of course, you need to take one of these tests because if your language, your first language is not English, people won't trust your ability to speak it, to work with it, to interact with natives until you take a proficiency test. So, uh, before I took the test, I was telling myself, oh, yeah, um, I'm already speaking English. I'm also an English major. I'm also teaching English. Why do I need to take this test? No, this doesn't make sense. But actually, it does. It does make sense, especially when you are interacting with native English speakers. I can give you one little, one example. There was a time I interact most of the time with American people. So there was a day, let me say, it is not a British native, but she is from, one of the colonies of the British in Africa. And when they came, there were two ladies, when they came together, and I am a third party, because I'm used to almost, the accents, American and British. Um, when the lady from, the British accent was introducing herself, it was a little bit difficult for the lady with American accent and especially the native accent to get her. So I stood there as an intermediate, now interpreting English into English for American and British. Isn't that funny? It's a little bit funny. So actually, people want to test your level, and some of these tests have their specificities. You see, when you take, for example, TOEFL, as I said earlier, TOEFL is geared to American English because it is actually it started in America. So you see, so it's geared to American Standard English. For example, I haven't spoken about Cambridge yet, but Cambridge also is one of the tests. This one is focused most of the time on British English, British accent. Do you see? But the IELTS, that's what I like about IELTS. The IELTS can take any type of English, can take American English, can take British English, can take Australian English. Why not African English? So they don't judge you with the IELTS. They don't judge you according to, oh yeah, you have an American accent, you have a British accent, you have this, you have that. No, they're not judging you over that. They are judging your ability to talk. They are judging your ability to express yourself. They are judging your ability to communicate either by your writing or speaking. So it is important that you take one of these tests for traveling purposes. If you want to study, you want to go for your master's, you want to apply for scholarships, even if you want to go and live, immigration purposes, you have to prepare for this test. And actually, it is important, what I'm saying now, it is important that you have the information earlier and start preparing yourself very early so that at the last moment you don't start rushing and you know making mistakes. So it is very important to know about all this. I don't know if anyone has any questions so far. Yes, if the question is not major, we'll deal with it, but if it is important, we'll put it at the end of the session. Yes. Okay, that's not exactly it. You can still use this IELTS, as far as I know about IELTS, you can still use it to work with organizations. So if you want to apply for a teaching job somewhere and they ask you about language proficiency test and you show your IELTS, I think those people are even more likely to accept you as fast as possible because they know this is a recognized, internationally recognized English proficiency test. You see. But for example, if you take the TOEIC, for example, you are not likely going to be accepted for teaching work, teaching jobs. If you want to teach, of course, it's important to lead yourself to TOEFL and other language tests related to that aspect. I was saying that almost, no, not almost, all these tests, they actually look alike. They look alike in the format, but a little bit now in detail, you can see the difference. So you will be tested in your listening, you will be tested in your reading, you'll be tested in your speaking, you'll be tested on your writing. So those are the four major aspects you will be tested if you take one of these tests. Of course, these are tests that you pay for. You pay for these tests to take them. There are also some tests that are free that you can take, and there are also tests that the costs are very, cheap that you can take quickly when you find yourself in an emergency situations. You see, there are tests that you can take, like if I take the Duolingo, language test, for example. That one is a test which is like it's not free, but the cost is cheap. It's cheap, and you can take it, as many times as you want if you are not able to meet the requirement. So there are some tests that are cheap, and there are some tests without costs. If sometimes one of those days you want to try out one of the free tests, after this webinar, you can reach out to me and I'll lead you to that, of course. But I'm not yet talking about the cost of IELTS, on TOEFL, TOEIC, and TFL and Cambridge. I'm not talking about the price yet because they are high, and you don't want to waste your money by going for them without preparation. Without preparation, I have met people who have taken these tests, and they are not mere people. They are native speakers, but they took these tests many times because of lack of preparation. And for your information, apart from the Cambridge test, which is a test, you take it once, and you take the validity is, for life. Let me say, it's for life. You don't have to, if you take it and you have a good score, you don't need to take it. All the other tests like IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, they are valid for 2 good years. They are valid for 2 good years. So you make sure you take it in time so that you use it for the purpose that you have. And after two years, if you are not able to use your certificate, then you need to take it again. So this is the matter of this test. So you don't want to waste your money by going for it just like that, but you go for them when you have something in front of you that you want to achieve within 2 years' time. Okay, within 2 years' time. Um, they have their advantages. Okay, those tests, as I said, we talked a little bit about them. Um, when you take one of these tests, it is an added value to your degree, your diploma, what you have. It is just like a yes added to your passport when you are traveling abroad for any purpose. Okay, thank you so much. So, what is IELTS? The definition is International English Language Testing System. That is the name, the meaning of IELTS, International English Language Testing System. So the test is designed to verify your ability to comprehend English in all its forms and under every circumstances. I said earlier, it is recognized by over 12,500 organizations over the world, and it has 4 parts: the listening, reading, writing, and speaking, just like all those tests. And the duration is 2 hours and 45 minutes. 2 hours and 45 minutes. So that is it. Now, the type of IELTS, because we have, depending on what you want to do, your purpose. Are you taking IELTS for academic purposes? Then you have to, when registering for an IELTS exam, you need to register for academic IELTS. Okay, if you want to go to study your undergraduate or postgraduate degree, then you apply for an academic IELTS. But if you are going for working purposes, working with corporate, then you need to take a general training IELTS. Now, if it is for living, just like living with your spouse, immigration, then you need to take the IELTS for UK visa, life skill. So those are the types of IELTS you have to choose from depending on your purpose. You also have to meet the requirement of the government for the type of visa you are applying for. So every government has, the requirement for those tests. So you also want to check with the government site to see, okay, what do they require for immigration? What do they require for academic purpose? What do they require for working purpose before you take the type of exam you want? And now, if I come a little bit closer and I look into the listening test of IELTS, this part helps determine if you are able to not only understand when native speakers are talking over any specific subject, but also, you know, if you are able to spot out key information from the conversation. That takes 30 minutes to complete. So you actually need to improve your listening skills as well as your long-term memory, because you will be listening to people talking and then you are trying to find out information from what they are saying. So you have to know to know how to listen to people when they are talking, and then to take information out from what they are saying. This is let me say it is the gross information about listening test. Okay, now the reading test, the reading part, exposes you to three very long, I said three very long tests that you might not be familiar with at all. You have three long tests, and you are required to read them and take information out, information that is hidden. It's not just like the test we give students at school, but and the information is already there in the test and you see it and you know, okay, this is exactly what it is. No, uh, the information is there, but it is not as clear as you may think it is. So you need to know how to identify information from tests like that. So you need to work. And IELTS, we have IELTS on computer and IELTS on paper. So you have the chance, if you are taking IELTS, to take it either on computer or on paper. And if you don't have a good handwriting, just like me, I would advise you to take IELTS on computer if you know at least how to use computer, if you know how to type very well and very fast. But if you have good handwriting, you can write very clearly, you don't write like doctors, then you can take IELTS on paper. Both have the advantages. All right, guys, this is the end of this. The shorter, the sweeter. I did not cover all the aspects of the IELTS test. I don't want the video to be too long. I'll still come back in another video to cover the rest of the aspects. If you have any question about all these language proficiency tests, reach out to me in the link I'll leave in the description below. Thank you so much and see you.